Tell us a little bit of your background and your story.
So I'm Brazilian. I was born in Brazil, and I have lived here my whole life. I've never been to the United States or any other countries, but I have been in English classes since I was 3 years old because I got curious to see why some words that we spoke in the streets were contrary to what we speak in Brazil. So basic words like hot dog, I mean, the translation would be the contrary. So I began to ask my parents why are these words so different than what we are used with speaking. So my parents told me that this was a language called English,
Uh-huh.
and so I started learning this English language. And since I was 5 or 6, I had this um, dream, I would say, of studying in the United States for college.
Okay.
But until June of 2008, I've never done anything to transform the dream within reality. So then I called graded.
Uh-huh.
I scheduled the interview,
Okay.
and I told my parents, that day, we have an interview in a school because I want to aim forward to my American diploma in the
Mhm.
United States. So
So you really took the initiative of contacting this
yes,
school,
and I selected this school in particular
and tell me why you selected this particular school.
because of I had no idea how the school would be.
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to my private English teacher who studied here and in other schools, and she told me, graded is where you're going to be happy at, independent on the difficulties that you may find, or in the challenges that you may face.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agreed. I graded. After 3 months of school, it becomes not only your school but your second house.
So you really found a home here.
I found a home here. Yes.
And tell me a little bit about what that means to you in terms of a home in the school.
Well, it's a school where first grade gets something called the Optimal Learning Center,
Mm-hmm.
which is already a section of the school for students that have, printing disabilities
Mm-hmm.
or somebody that have, distraction disorders.
Mm-hmm.
So this is already a point
Mm-hmm.
on the school evaluation as far as I'm concerned. To have a teachers that are specialized on helping people
Mm-hmm.
to devoting their time to adapting to the system. So they told me when they accepted me, they said, we accept you. You have what we need, but this is going to be a learning experience for everybody
Mm.
because we have a blind student that is 6 years old, but that's different than getting a high schooler who is in, freshman year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I told them all I need to class is a laptop
Mm-hmm.
and a plug-in.
Mm-hmm.
So the classes on the American system,
Mm-hmm.
if you allow me to compare to the Brazilian one,
Mm.
they actually help the blind student even if the teacher doesn't do any special thing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because in the American system there are a lot of discussions during classes. There are a lot of teacher talking, but there's a lot of discussions. The Brazilian system is board focused.
Okay.
So the teacher goes right on the board, you copy.
So you found the American system had more multisensory stimulus. It wasn't just visual.
Yes.
Okay.
Even if it is visual, there is a lot of discussions. I don't know. It has to see probably with the way teachers are. They study to be teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I noticed that in the American system, there's a lot of discussions during class.
Okay.
An example of this is actually history.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have been to thousands of history classes in your life, so you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's discussions. In the Brazilian system, there is, but there is really occasional.
Okay.
So the blind student, I never got lost because I studied in a private school. It was a really good school, but if you compare to like public schools in Brazil, I'm pretty sure that students get lost because it's just a board. If you're
Mhm.
blind, you have no idea what is on the board, and if somebody doesn't tell you.
Now, Mauricio, you've been at Graded for just over a year,
8 months.
8 months, and you obviously feel that it's been a really successful experience for you.
99.9% successful.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about what you're drawing upon when you say it has been successful? What evidence are you looking at?
The fact that I can be a active member of the graded family at all circumstances involved.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that when people have concerns, they discuss them. They don't pretend they don't see them. They turn and say, I have no idea how I'm going to do this with you. What have you tried? What have you not tried? What are you willing to try for a certain topic?
So there's a real willingness on the part of the teachers to share with you.
Teachers at graded, they they are created not to fail with students.
Uh-huh.
They are designed not to fail.
So you feel there's a real effort on the part of your teachers.
There is, which is why they actually feel that when they get me in their class for the first time, before they see me, they feel like it's going to be a huge challenge
Uh-huh.
because they don't want to fail, and they actually don't fail with me. But they are also worried about how are they going to transform their teaching capabilities, which are amazing,
Mm-hmm.
into something I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys know Mr. Amaral. He's a biology
Yes.
teacher.
Mm-hmm.
That person is the most creative teacher in this whole institution, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because he adapted labs which involve graphing.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me the exact same thing with balloons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How easy can something be? I mean, it's some things that you have to act. If you think, it's not hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
All you need to do is give me a balloon, and I explain what I have to do.
So what he was doing in some respects was putting himself into your position,
Exactly.
empathizing with you, and actually then using that information to design a lesson that you could be a full participant in.
Exactly.
Okay.
The thing is, the key thing, if you know, from what I have, I have 15 years. I'm 15 years old,
Mm.
so I can actually say, the key thing for us blind people that wants to be included in the society is, people need to ask.
Mm.
You need to ask when you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
because teachers always told me, when you have a concern, you need to ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to do the same thing
So that would be a message that you would want to give to teachers.
to everybody. They need to ask, because if you have a student, I don't know if you're a teacher, but I don't know. If you have a student and the student is having difficulties in your class, I suppose that if the student doesn't ask, you're not going to be able to help them, right?
Mm.
Because they're not going to know what their problem is.
Mm-hmm.
With a blind person, sometimes we are perfectly okay with the class,
Mm-hmm.
but the teacher isn't,
Mhm.
and the teacher has problems identifying certain elements.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't ask us,
Mm-hmm.
how are you supposed to see that they're concerned?
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
can't guess.
So one of the messages that you would like to give to teachers is that we should be open about the challenges
Completely opened.
and that we should really discuss these and ask questions.
Yes.
You know, what works for you? What has worked in the past?
What doesn't work? What
Sure.
can we improve? What can we give you? What can you give us for future students? Because I'm pretty sure that after me, graded is going to be accepting a lot of blind students,
Mm-hmm.
or not a lot, but there might be people moving and they might be blind, and graded is going to be way prepared if they're opened.
So you really see yourself as making a pathway for other students.
Certainly, I certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
In my Brazilian school, it was like that. I was the first one they
Mhm.
accepted.
Mhm.
And in my last year there, before I came here, I saw a girl joining,
Mhm.
and the school was already with everything set up for her.
So talk to us a little bit more about your dream. You want to go to the United States to a
Yes.
university.
Yes.
And what do you want to study and what do you want to do?
I'm not quite sure yet on what I want to major on, but my intention is not to be a member of society, but to be the member of society.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be, and this is actually why the American system actually interested me. The student in the class, if I'm in an American class, I'm Mauricio, the student in the class.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm in a Brazilian class or in a South American class, I'm a number 16 on the attendance list.
Uh-huh.
So you feel that people really come to know you on a personal level.
Even if they don't, because they can't, because they don't have time, because they're busy, they try to at least give you the space to express yourself as much as you possibly can.
Okay.
Of course, there needs to be my part as well on expressing myself, on trying to show the world what I want to show them. But if you don't even get a chance, how are you going to do it?
So you were saying earlier that you want to be, did you say, a contributing member of society?
I want to be a member that highlights the values that I have, and there's a lot of people that they actually have good values, but they don't execute those values into where they live.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that being nice with people is good, but I'm busy with my time, so why would I care to see if the person by my side needs somebody? I'm already busy with my things. I'm a person that I want to show the world the values that I have and teach those people or learn with people according to what those values are. And this is a quite big thing. It's I think it's going to be a life living thing because you're always learning, and there's always going to be people around you who needs to learn too. So there's going to be a long process, but
Well, good.
So you're now in 10th grade,
yes,
and I understand that you're taking mathematics.
yes.
How's that working for you?
Okay, so now it's working perfectly fine because the school found the perfect solution,
And what was that?
which is we had several ideas when we got to discuss this. One was to have a total private class with somebody else.
How did you feel about that?
Good, but for me, actually, it doesn't make a difference between the two ideas. It didn't at that time.
Okay.
Between a private class and a normal class with an extra teacher,
Okay.
which would be, of course, yes, if the student asks questions, she will answer, but she's my assistant teacher in the class.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
So
she's been
she-
assigned to you then.
She's basically my eyes on mathematics class.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
On history class, I got the computer that actually talks to me and reads everything that I do in class. But on mathematics, people found that mathematics is a visual class. Even though the American class is way better than the South American classes, it is still something like history. If I turn to you and I say, well, someone discovered Chile in 19 blah blah blah, you're gonna understand that and you can take notes. In mathematics, if I turn to you and say this is equals this by pointing onto a board, and you're blind, I'm like, what is it? What is he talking about? This teacher, I don't know if you talked to her yet, if you will, but what she does is she explains to me what my teacher's saying.
Okay.
So I learned from the regular class teacher, in my case, Mr. Skinner. I learned from him. He's my teacher. She's not my teacher. She is the person who helps me to work during class.
Okay.
So she's my writer. I say x plus 2 equals 15. She writes in the paper, basically. But she also allows me to understand what is Mr. Skinner pointing to and what is he referring to.
Okay.
And my grades reflect on that.
Okay.
If you get my first quarter grade of the semester with this system, it's a 96.
Very good. Excellent.
So this could be a pretty good, some blind people use Braille.
Yeah.
I personally don't because of the volume that it creates.
When you say volume, what do you mean
Physical
by that?
volume.
Okay.
I mean it's physical volume. It takes me, literally, if I do a task on 80 minutes with a computer, it'll take me minimally 2 hours and a half to do the same thing with Braille.
Oh.
So it's much longer for you.
It is longer. That's me though. I can't talk for the whole community. There are some people that read 350 words a minute on Braille. They don't have any problem with that. But for me, it's longing. It's more stressing too. So I'll use Braille's probably on if there's any graph or something.
Right.
On chemistry, for example,
Sure.
I'll use the periodic table on Braille because
Right.
this is actually there's the only solution that we got, except the software in English. But this we'll see about that. But I like Braille. I recognize its importance, but I don't imagine myself doing what I do at grade ed with Braille.
Okay.
Okay.
So this teacher, she actually helped me to understand what was going on, and she still does. And actually, I hope the school keeps this system because it's really working.
Well, we really appreciate your help, and we will send your message to the rest of the world, to as many people as we can, to show them that one school in Brazil was able to manage and succeed with a student who had a visual handicap, and also that the student was able to succeed in this school.
And teach the school an enormous amount.
I think that teaching is not a one-side thing. Even if I didn't have a handicap or anything, I think that each teacher learn with each student. Some things good things, some things not that good. But I think that teachers are always learning as well.
I would agree with
I
that.
would agree.
That is.
Thank you very much.